Hi guys, thanks for coming back. Well, welcome to my wood turning shack. Rad's in the shack again. In this video I thought we'd have a look at some of the more unusual tools I've purchased over the years. Some of which I use quite often and some of which I very rarely use. No specific type, they're all different types. But as I said, some of them are a little bit unusual, you might say. First off, I wanted to start off with this one. If you can see it. Basically this is a Robert Sorby 3/4 inch gouge. Now, we measure our gouges in England slightly different than you guys in the US measure yours. This gouge in the US would be about 1 inch. Round about 1 inch gouge. It's a monster of a gouge. And the handle it's in is a monster of a handle. This thing is solid steel. This tool must weigh a good 4, maybe 5 pound easily. Maybe verging on 6 pound, and it's got one use. If I get any branch wood, now by branch wood I'm not talking little branch wood, I'm talking big branch wood, you know, 10, 12 inch in diameter, maybe more. Sometimes it can be a bit of a little bit big for your normal spindle roughing gouge, in which case I bring this thing out. It's just got a standard grind on it, but it's so heavy, you know, like normally with a normal spindle roughing gouge it would be kicking up, you know, virtually uncontrollable. With the sheer mass and the sheer weight of this thing, it can control that wood, you know, until you get it a little bit more round, until you bring it a little bit into more round. How can I put it? It's the doorman of wood turning gouges. It's the bouncer of wood turning gouges, you might say, you know. If your name's not on the list, you're not getting in. And that's what this thing is. It's a beast of a gouge. But it only gets used on really, really awkward, out of control pieces of wood. You know, a 12 inch diameter piece of branch wood, or, you know, where your normal roughing gouge would be bucking up and bucking all over the place, and this thing it'll control it. It's able to handle that until you can bring it into more of a round, and then you can use the spindle roughing gouge. But that's what I use that thing for. I wish you could feel this thing, just how heavy it is. It's a monster of a gouge. Right, what can we have a look at next? Talking of monsters. Right, what about this scraper? This is made by Crown Tools of Sheffield. Now, if you've watched some of my other videos, you'll know that I'm not a big lover of Crown. But I have got some of their tools which I do use because nobody else makes them. Right? And this is one of those tools. If you're having to scrape a bowl, and for some reason you're having to go a long way over that tool rest, well, this is the scraper you need. Okay? It's 1 inch in diameter. Look how thick that thing is. Look at the thickness of that thing. Look, that's ½ inch thick. ½ inch thick metal. Again, it's the doorman of scrapers. It's the bouncer of scrapers. It's a beast of a tool. A monster of a scraper. I mean, I've got a Henry Taylor heavy duty scraper that I've shown you in a previous video. Now that one's wider, but this thing's way thicker than it. Look how thick that thing is. Look. That thing, when you plant that down, it does not flutter. When you're scraping, there's no vibration, no flutter. It's just excellent. But I only use it every now and again. Right, another tool that I bought that I don't use. This is another fluted parting tool. And the flute runs along the top edge. You put it on the tool rest in it like so. It works, you know. It slices into the wood well. It does its job. It makes a clean slice, but unfortunately, with the cutting edge being at the top there, it tends to want to pull to one side or the other, you know, which can lead to some, I don't know, it can be a little bit awkward to use sometimes. I have tried using it that way, but then you end up with nicks in your tool rest. So I bought it thinking, yeah, I'll use that all the time, but I don't. It can be a little bit difficult to control. It tends to want to, even, you know, when you're in the cut, it tends to want to pull one way or the other, because it's thicker at the top than the bottom as well. So it's a little bit awkward. It's hard to explain, but it can be a little bit difficult to use. So I tend not to use it. I've got the thinner fluted parting tools now, and they work a lot better. Right, moving on. What about these things? Have you ever tried using these? Ring tools. Crown, this one. This is a crown ring tool. I was going to get the Sorby ring tool, but then I thought to myself, well, you might not use it very often, and the Sorby one was quite expensive. So I went with the crown one, and I'm very glad I did, because I think I've used this twice. Now, there's some people that swear by them, but I don't. They, again, they can be difficult to use. But I'm awfully glad I didn't pay, you know, 40, 50, 60 pound for one. I've only ever used it twice, and I didn't like it, so I don't use it. Right, next up. These are for doing beads on wood. If you can see that close up, can you see that? These work quite well. I mean, I don't use them as much as I used to, because obviously I've learnt to flick beads using parting tools and whatnot, and spindle gougers. But they do work. They work really well on handles. If you want to put, you know, that dimpled effect on an handle, like you know, the grip section of an handle, that, if you keep pushing that in, it makes a really good effect, you know, a really good gripping surface. I've got them in a couple of different sizes. As you can see, this one's Henry Taylor, this one's Crown. This small one is 1/4 inch, I think that. That's 3/8 inch. No, sorry, that's 1/8, that's 3/8. Then I've got the Robert Sorby equivalent of those, which for me are a lot better, and I do find myself using these quite a lot. They are these, if you can see that. basically you've got a tool which produces 2 half beads, and you just join them. If you want to make a bead, you push it in and then move it over and push it in again, and you've got a bead. Again, it can be used very well for making, you know, grips on tool handles and such. They work really well. They can also be used very well for making decorations and stuff, you know. You can use these things a lot more than you would think you can, you know. Not just for making beads, you can decorate items with them, decorate bowls with them and stuff. There's a lot more use to them than what you would think. Right, this is quite a quick video, isn't it? I'm flying through these. The next one is this thing. I don't know if you've seen one of these before. It's a depth setting tool. Basically, you push this into the centre of your spindle. You know, you put your item into the chuck, you put this in the centre and push, and this thing here can be moved up and down the length of it, and you can set the depth, and when you push it in, when you get up to this stop, you know it's at that set depth. And it's actually a tool I use very, very often. Very often. A lot of the small vases and stuff that I make, I use these on, or this on. I use it a lot more than when I first bought it. I thought, oh, I'll use it, you know, every now and again. But I find myself using it a lot more than I ever thought I would. So it's a handy little gadget to have. I know you can do the same thing with a ruler and whatnot. You know, you can make your own centre boring thing, can't you, from an old drill, and then mark it off where you need to stop. But this is just a little bit quicker and a little bit more convenient. In you go, and it gets rid of all that pith, the centre. It's good little tool. Recommend them. Right guys, that's going to be the quickie for this video. I don't know what we're going to have a look at next video, but no doubt I'll find something. Right, catch you in a bit guys, catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching, take care guys, bye bye.